remember when we had our discussion on the First World War and how the First World War was supposed to be a war to end all wars. Yet how ironic it is that we stand here starting our discussion on the Second World War, a war which was much more disastrous, much more destructive, and a war that left much more negative impact than the First World War did. Before we delve deeper into the war itself, who are these children over here? It looks like the children are being sent somewhere. And over here you can see the mothers are kissing their children goodbye. So are these children off to school like you folks? Not really. You see, these children are being sent away from their homes. They're being sent away from their homes in towns and cities to stay with their relatives in rural areas. Why was that the case? So therefore we understand that this is not a jolly scene of children going to school. This instead is an evacuation. You see, the Second World War saw an evacuation of 1 million children from major towns into rural areas. The pictures we see over here are from London and other towns and cities of United Kingdom. This mass evacuation of children from major towns and cities into rural areas in UK was known as Operation Pied Piper. This was done so the children are safe. Over here we can see a poster for Operation Pied Piper by the government itself. Over here we see a young child, his name being Sunny, and he is trying to help the people of London in the war effort. But a British soldier comes in and tells him, "Leave this to us, Sunny. You ought to be out of London." You referring to all children. They should all be leaving London as London is not safe. But why were the children not safe in their own homes, in towns and cities like London? Well, to understand that, you have to understand the Second World War. And to understand that, in effect, you have to completely forget about the intensity of the First World War. Why is that so? That is because no matter how destructive and disastrous the First World War might have been, it does not simply compound to the destruction and death caused by the Second World War. The Second World War was a different kind of conflict altogether. A kind of conflict where nowhere was safe. Not even towns and cities like London's. The reason young children like Sunny were being sent out of their towns and cities is because the Germans were bombing the cities from the skies. Over here we see a German bomber dropping bombs over the cities, and over here we see the skyline of London with the Tower Bridge enveloped in smoke because bombs are being dropped on London. And over here we see a picture which depicts the aftermath of the bombings on London. This shows the intensity of conflict in the Second World War, where people were not even safe in their homes. Forget battlefields. A person could not ensure that whether he would be coming back home that night from work and be able to see his children and family safe and his house standing. But what happened to the countless Sunnies who could not leave town, who could not evacuate? Then they had to face the aerial bombings firsthand. Over here we see a picture of a child sitting in the rubble left by aerial bombings. Young children like this were exposed to the horrors of war while not even having to leave their very homes. That is the Second World War. But what brought the world to this point? Let us understand that. To understand what brought the world to the Second World War, we have to go 20 years back. The First World War had come to an end in 1918. The Allied nations were celebrating. Over here we see people in London are celebrating, the very same London which would be bombed by Germans 20 years from now. So over here we see Allied nations are celebrating the end of the First World War, which in their own minds was a war to end all wars. Of course, we understand now that that wasn't the case. You see, while the First World War did come to an end, the aftermath of the First World War in many ways laid down the seeds of discontentment, which eventually led to the Second World War. And to understand that better, we have to understand what were the various causes behind the outbreak of the Second World War. What caused the world to again face a global conflict, one that would kill twice the number of people than the First World War did, and one that still remains as a horrid memory in the hearts of humanity. For that, we have to delve into various causes behind the outbreak of the Second World War, which would be a topic of our discussions from the subsequent lessons onward. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.